Hello there, welcome to the photo adventure with me and Betsy. Today we've got another really bad sky day, so I've come over to my local Bluebell Woods and I'm going to show you why I use Aperture Priority more than anything else. Join me in a minute and I'll talk you through it all. Look at this, absolutely lovely. Everywhere you look, it is just a sea of blue. I'm going to find a composition and I'll talk you through my settings and why I use aperture mode over manual for something like this. So join me in a minute and I'm just going to have a little scout around. I'm going to find Betsy has legged it again. So, join me in a minute. So, I've just found this lovely log that's just collapsed and broke. I'm going to use this as a leading line into the bluebells. I'll just show you on the back of the camera the composition that I'm going to get. So, this is the shot, and what I'm loving is I'm using the two halves of the stump as a leading line into the bluebells. I should focus stack this down here on the moss and then in the trees in the distance. I could probably get away with just focusing there as one shot. I'm using the 16mm, so it probably would be acceptably sharp down there and in the distance from this distance here. Yeah, it looks a lovely little photograph. So the reason I'm using Aperture Priority with all my photographs in here as opposed to manual is because I'm using a sturdy tripod and the shutter speed is completely immaterial to me. I'm setting ISO to 100, so I've got a grain free shot, and I'm setting the aperture between f8 and f11 depending on the scene, just to get good depth of field. I am focus stacking this image now, and whereas if you're shooting manual you're always changing either the ISO or the shutter speed just to get the right exposure, whereas in Aperture Priority you can set your aperture, you can set your ISO and let the camera alter the shutter speed as to what it thinks is correct. If it's slightly off, you can always just underexpose it a bit more. But I find it so much easier and quicker. Places like this, especially if you get a lot of people coming about, once they see a tripod and the camera, that's it, they're all around you. And you struggle to get pictures then. So I like to try and be as quick as I can. And by shooting in aperture mode, I will have my aperture set, f11, as in this case, with this stump here, and ISO 100 and the shutter speed. Let me just get the camera back up. I'll tell you what the shutter speed is for this shot. It is 1/4 of a second. I have got the dial on the back of the camera. Let me just turn to the camera. There's the settings: ISO 100, f11, 1/4 of a second. And if it looks a little bit bright, I have got the dial on the back set just to alter the exposure and the shutter speed. Very quick, very simple, and I can see on the meter exactly where I'm going and how much I need to underexpose. Didn't want to take the shot then, but I did. So quick and easy, one stop underexposed on that, looks perfect. And all I will do now is leave the settings as they are, and for my next composition have a look with how bright it is in here. The light is pretty flat, so it is even everywhere, and all I need to do is just adjust very slightly, probably between 0.7 and 1 stop underexposed, just to get that eye contrast that I like. So yeah, aperture priority, somewhere like this, so much faster than shooting manual. So I've just found another little composition, this little tree here, loving the green moss and the detail in it, and I'm going to put it coming from the left hand side up to the centre of the frame. I'll just show the back of the camera, and what I'm going to show you as well is my settings haven't changed from the last photograph that I took. So all that will be different with this is going to be the shutter speed, the aperture and the ISO are going to be the same, but the camera will adjust the shutter speed in aperture mode to what it thinks needs to be. I think it was set at 1 stop underexposed last time. So I'll just show the back of the camera. So here's the back of the camera, and I'll get the settings up. As you can see, ISO 100, f11 on 1 stop underexposed, and that now is giving me a 1/6 of a second. I shall do a focus stack on this, and I'm going to shoot there. Because the tree branch goes in, I'm going to shoot again there, and then I'll shoot on the trees in the distance there, and just blend them together in Photoshop. Looks beautiful. So I've just moved round and just noticed the big root mass at the bottom of this tree. So again, I'm going to take a shot. I'll just show the back of the camera again and the settings. Again, it's still the same, f11 ISO 100 on 1 stop underexposed, and I'll just show you what the shutter speed is for this, if it's changed or not. So when Betsy gets out the shot, Betsy, come out. I'm liking the green roots on the bottom of the tree and coming up from the right hand bottom to the top, towards the top left on that diagonal line. Looks lovely. The settings, so you can see, ISO 100, 1 stop underexposed, f11, and that is again 1/6 of a second. I'm going to focus stack this one as well, there, and in the distance, and again blend this in Photoshop. Just look at that, absolutely just stunning. The texture and the moss, got the vines growing up with the ivy, looks amazing. I'm going to set a shot up with the bluebells in the foreground and that. So I'll just show you the back of the camera, and I'll show it again the settings. Again, I haven't touched the camera, still in aperture mode. I'm still shooting ISO 100, f11. The light is pretty even throughout here, so I'm leaving 1 stop underexposed. That's going to help me when I come to dodge and burn in Photoshop. If I want to just brighten something up just to make it stand out and lead the eye, I can do that if I shoot just that slightly little bit underexposed. So a little tip for you there, when you're out in flat light, try to shoot just a fraction dark, and then you can bring up highlights and light where you think light should be with dodge and burning, and just to lead your viewer's eye to areas that you want them to see first. So again, I'll just get the settings up. This time ISO 100, 1 stop underexposed, f11, and the camera set 1/8 of a second for the shutter speed. I've put a bunch of bluebells in the foreground, and then this beautiful tree just set behind it. Again, I'm going to focus stack on the bluebells on the tree, and again blend them up in Photoshop. Looks beautiful, it does. So another little shot. This lovely little log on the floor, and there's a log going horizontal. So I'm going to line these up, and I'll just show the back of the camera again. Again, the settings are exactly the same. ISO 100, f11. The camera is still set at 1 stop underexposed. This does look a little bit darker here because I'm underneath this big tree here. I've got another one behind me there. It does look a little bit darker scene, so we may have to just adjust this slightly, but it's going to be the first one that I've had to adjust. I'll show the back of the camera and I'll talk you through that. So as you can see, the back of the camera, it is looking a little bit darker because I haven't quite got as much sky in the photograph. I'm loving the log on the floor as a leading line straight up to the bluebells and the log horizontal. I'll get the settings up for you. ISO 100 on 1 stop underexposed, f11, and this time the camera has just set the shutter speed to 15th of a second. I am just going to brighten up very slightly, 0.7 of a stop underexposed now, and that is a 13th of a second. Again, I'm just going to focus this one just on the end of the log there, and that should pretty much get everything focused. Looks beautiful. So as you can see, for me in these woods today, I don't need to be in manual mode because Aperture Priority is quick, it's simple, and I shoot most things in aperture mode rather than manual. It's only if I need fine detail, maybe shooting waterfalls and stuff like that, that I'll shoot manual. Otherwise 90% of my shots, probably 95%, 96%, I shoot in Aperture Priority, just because I always use a tripod, so my shutter speed is immaterial. Even when I shoot fast jets, those who follow me know I go to the Mac loop and I shoot F-15s, Tornadoes, everything. And because my panning is good, again I shoot F8 just to get a sharp jet, anything between F5.6 and F8. And I will up the ISO slightly and I will just let the shutter speed, or let the camera adjust the shutter speed, because I know that my panning is all right and I will get the shot. So try it, jump into Aperture Priority and see what you think. You will be able to use, just set up, especially if you've got flat light like this, you can just get your settings. For me today it's just F11 and ISO 100, and then just let the camera sort the shutter speed out. I've just spotted a big fern, so I'm going to walk over to that now and see if I can get a shot there. Well, that's it for today. I've a lovely couple of hours in here. I just turn around, try and show it again. It's just absolute carpet of blue. There are a few white little bluebells. They look really nice against the blue. I haven't took any photos of them. It's going to give me an excuse to come back again, probably next week, and see how I'm doing. I did come here last week and the bluebells have shot up, so they are looking a little bit nicer than they did last week. Looks great. But going back to the subject, Aperture Priority, just try it, and if you need to adjust settings, do it. If you're using manual, you have to adjust it probably for every shot, whereas by shooting in aperture mode you have to adjust far less, and just let the camera sort out the shutter speed. All I tend to do is I will just set the ISO that I want, I'll set the aperture that I want, and then just let the camera sort out the shutter speed. It makes life so much easier, and especially if you come somewhere there's a lot of people about and you want to get a shot quickly, you can. There are links down below in the description to all the gear that I use. If you've got a favourite image from today, drop me a comment below and just tell me which one it is and why you like it. It's one of those places that is just stunning to come and look at. It is quite hard to find little intimate scenes, which is what I like. Just try and find little stumps with little ferns growing out. I have just seen one, so I may just tag this one on to the end of the video. I'm going to have a look at it now. But yeah, if you like the video, please like, subscribe, share with your friends, tell your friends all about me. Me and Betsy really do appreciate it, and the more likes and subscribes you get, to subscribe, it is free. You just hit the little subscribe button and that's it. You'll get a link to the channel every time we get on there, and it just helps us get out to make more videos. Your support is greatly appreciated, it really is. So here are all the photographs, and until next time, take it easy.